Hello, Kira.
Hello.
How do you do?
Doing alright today?
Well, I have some few questions for social studies here for you today. I hope you can answer all of them.
Bring him on.
Has the federal government of Canada done a significant job in promoting a national identity?
I think that the government has done a sufficient job because we have programs in place to regulate the Canadian content that Canadians receive, such as we have the Canadian Broadcasting Company, which allows us to play Canadian news and is regulated by the Canadian government. And without that, then us Canadians would just watch American news outlets or British news outlets, and we just wouldn't get the same relevancy in our news stories that we get through CBC. And the other program that I thought is really helpful is the CRTC, which, if you don't know what it is, which I don't know why you would be a teacher, but it regulates it so that there's at least 30% of the songs. At least 30%. So what the CRTC does is it regulates it so at least on the radio, at least 30% of our songs have to be Canadian songs, or at least by Canadian artists, since there's really no Canadian songs. But anyways, it really helps us with Canadian arts, and it promotes a Canadian identity because we can portray our culture, and it helps promote the arts in Canada.
So, Kira, moving on from the first question. Question number 2. What lessons has history taught us about the nature of nationalism? And please be specific when you explaining this question. Provide evidence as well.
Well, nationalism can hold a country together. History has shown us many times that nationalism can also be a country's downfall, and it can cause great suffering and war and genocide even. And we can see this actually starting way back with the rise of Napoleon, because once Napoleon fell, all of these regions they changed their governments from monarchies, and republics started gaining popularity. And also with the reunification of Germany and Italy, then all of a sudden you have two new big players on the European stage. And with all these nations, and all of them are gaining nationalism and that kind of an idea, then that's what directly led up to World War I, is that all of these countries, people were willing to die for their country because of their nationalistic beliefs. And with the alliance system that they had at the time, then all it took was a Serbian nationalist group to assassinate Franz Ferdinand in Austria, and that's what led to World War I. And then World War I wasn't the end of it. After the end of World War I, there were still grievances left over from the conflict, and Germany had a lot of struggles after World War I. They had economic depression, they had conflict, and because of all these issues in their country, then they turned to Adolf Hitler, who incidentally used the German people on his road to victory, which was not victory at all, but he thought it was victory at first. And that's what nationalism does.
Kira, now we're going to move on to question number 3. To what extent should nationalism be sacrificed in the interest of internationalism?
Well, as the EU has shown us, and NATO, is that international organizations between different nations, it helps us to reduce conflict, because the European continent hasn't seen a major war since World War II. It's clearly evident here. And not only that, but it also helps improve economic prosperity through free trade, and just through the movement of people and the movement of ideas. But at the same time, if your country is being screwed over by one of these deals, then I think it's important that you put your voice out there and you say, okay, we need this deal to not just benefit you guys, it needs to benefit us all. And I think that that's when nationalism is important. You have to stand up for everyone, including your own country.
We're up to question number 4 so far. How are contending nationalists and non-contending loyalties a challenge to a nation of Canada moving forward in the future?
I think that we need to have at least some kind of a balance, because, I mean, a nationalist in Canada might say that we don't need a free trade deal, we don't need NAFTA, we don't need NORAD or any of those organizations that they feel like maybe they will feel like it disputes our sovereignty. But the thing is that we need to work together, and we are not the biggest country in the world, so we need a bit of assistance, and we need to give what we can give. We need to cooperate with other countries. And then on the other hand, you have non-nationalist loyalty, such as that of the Bloc Québécois, which believe that Quebec should be separate from Canada, which, although they have their own reasons, if they were to go that way, and if Quebec was to separate, then our country would be in a great economic downturn from there. Would be cut off from the maritime provinces, for instance, and Quebec is a large part of our economy, of course. So I think there needs to be a balance, and we need to think about what really matters to us and what will benefit us as a people, and we need to develop as a people and grow.
Okay, Kara. Now we're heading to question number 5.
Brilliant.
This question is based on Canada's interaction with other nations. How would you expect to be treated when you travel around the world?
Well, I would certainly expect to be treated better than an American, but there's a reason behind that. And the reason is just simply that we've made a big effort in the past, at least, to portray ourselves in a nice way, and we've built up a very nice reputation through our efforts. We used to be very big in peacekeeping, and we used to promote peace, and we would give out just an image of ourselves that was of a very nice country. Of course, there are the stereotypes, but even just looking past those, I think we've done a very strong job to build an image that we portray to the rest of the world. Even if we don't do very much peacekeeping today, we still haven't meddled in world politics as much as some of our other neighbors have. Not pointing any fingers over there.
Okay. This is the last question you have. Alright?
Alrighty.
You just have to pick a political cartoon and analyze it. Please do so.
Alright, so I found this brilliant cartoon here of Adolf Hitler marching his way up the spineless leaders of democracy. And there is a backstory to this political cartoon, and that is that in the 1930s, when Germany was making a lot of advancements, such as their annexation of Austria, their taking over the Sudetenlands, and their remilitarization of the Rhineland, what happened was, this was completely against the Treaty of Versailles, by the way, and several leaders, especially the poster boy of appeasement, Neville Chamberlain, pretty much just said, you know what, we don't want to have World War II, we're going to not interfere at all, we're going to just let Germany do this. They're a big power, they have lots of people, even if they've been defeated in World War I, and we're not going to avoid doing this, we're not going to do this again. And they just let Germany do all of these things and pretty much advance their power and completely violate the Treaty of Versailles. And then finally, they declared war in Poland, and then that was where Neville Chamberlain said, okay, this is enough, enough's enough, and actually all the allies declared war on Germany, and that's where we got the most destructive war in human history from. Right?